The motivational quote on our refrigerator this morning read, "Sometimes you have to walk away from toxic people to find your peace." I stared at it while pouring coffee into my Cleveland Browns mug, wondering if Marissa knew I could see right through her passive-aggressive booby traps. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name's Trevor Whitmore. I'm 41 years old, and I've been installing HVAC systems in suburban Cleveland for 18 years. I fix other people's air conditioning for a living, which is ironic since my own marriage has been nothing but hot air for the past 6 months. Marissa Dale, she kept her maiden name because independence is important, works as a medical office coordinator downtown. She's 39, drives a white Honda Civic with inspirational bumper stickers, and has recently developed an obsession with posting memes about knowing your worth and cutting toxic men out of your life. The funny thing about toxic men is that I'd probably glow under a Geiger counter if I ever got near one. But Marissa's definition of toxic seems to include anyone who notices she's been staying late at work 3 nights a week with her co-worker Caleb Foster. Caleb's 44, married, drives a tricked-out BMW with racing stripes, and spends more time at the gym than most people spend sleeping. He's got that smug look that says he peaked in high school but never got the memo. The kind of guy who sends shirtless mirror selfies and thinks it's charming instead of pathetic. I found those photos on Marissa's phone last Tuesday. "You're up early," Marissa said, walking into the kitchen wearing her scrubs. She worked at Dr. Peterson's family practice, where Caleb happened to be the office manager. "Job site starts at 7, I replied, not looking up from my coffee. "Same as every day for the past decade." She grabbed a yogurt from the fridge, carefully avoiding eye contact. "I might be late tonight. Caleb wants to go over the new patient scheduling system." "Again?" "It's complicated software, Trevor. Not everyone can just wing it like you do with your heating units." I almost laughed. Wing it. Like 18 years of experience was just lucky guessing. But I'd learned that arguing with Marissa was like trying to explain thermodynamics to a brick wall, pointless, and likely to give you a headache. "Sure thing. I'll heat up some leftover pizza." She paused at the door, and for a second I thought she might say something real, something honest. Instead, she just grabbed her purse and left without saying goodbye. That's when I noticed she'd forgotten her wedding ring on the bathroom counter. Again. My phone buzzed. Text from Greg, my work partner. "You see Marissa's Facebook post this morning?" I hadn't. I pulled up her profile, and there it was. "Sometimes you have to leave toxic men behind to find your true self. Self-love, know your worth, new beginnings." Posted at 6:47 a.m., right after our kitchen conversation. The comments were already rolling in. Her best friend Tanya, a self-proclaimed empowerment coach who sold essential oils and relationship advice despite being divorced twice, had written, "Yes, Queen, you deserve so much better." Amanda, Marissa's cousin, chimed in, "About time you realized it, girl." Even my own neighbor, Mrs. Henderson, had liked the post. I stared at my phone for a long moment, then typed a comment, "Totally agree. Sometimes walking away is the best choice for everyone." Then I liked the post. My phone immediately started buzzing, Greg calling. "Dude, what the hell was that?" "What?" "Your comment on Marissa's post. That was ice cold." I was being supportive. "Trevor, that sounded like a threat." "Did it?" I grinned, even though he couldn't see me. Weird. The truth was, I'd been thinking about this moment for weeks. Ever since I'd overheard Marissa on the phone with Tanya, loudly discussing my emotional unavailability and lack of ambition while I was supposedly napping on the couch. "He just fixes air conditioners, Tanya. I need someone who dreams bigger." Dreams bigger. Like Caleb, apparently, whose biggest dream seemed to be getting my wife into bed while his own wife watched their 2 kids at home. I'd done my homework on Caleb Foster. Social media made it easy. Married to Janelle Foster, a nurse at Cleveland Clinic. 2 kids, ages 8 and 10. Posted gym selfies daily, but hadn't posted a family photo in 6 months. His Instagram was full of motivational quotes about seizing opportunities and taking what you deserve. Real philosopher, that one. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a direct message from Tanya. Trevor, what's going on? Marissa's really upset about your comment. I typed back, just supporting her journey toward authenticity. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. She's worried you're going to make things difficult. Things are already difficult, Tanya. I'm just not pretending anymore. No response to that one. I finished my coffee, grabbed my work bag, and headed out to the truck. The morning air was crisp for March in Ohio, and I could smell snow coming. Perfect weather for people to discover their heating systems weren't working properly. As I backed out of the driveway, I saw Mrs. Henderson peeking through her curtains. She waved and I waved back. Sweet old lady. Divorced her cheating husband 30 years ago and never looked back. She'd probably have some interesting perspective on Marissa's journey toward authenticity. The job site was a new subdivision in Westlake, where young professionals bought overpriced houses and complained about their utility bills. I spent the morning installing ductwork and listening to Greg speculate about my marriage. You could try counseling, he suggested, holding a section of pipe while I secured it. Counseling requires 2 people who want to fix something. Marissa doesn't want to fix this. She wants to replace it. With Jim Boy? With Jim Boy. Greg shook his head. Man's got 2 kids and a wife. What's he thinking? He's thinking with his other brain, same as always. Around lunchtime, my phone started buzzing with notifications. Facebook, Instagram, text messages. I ignored them until break time, then checked to see what had stirred up the social media hornet's nest. Marissa had posted again. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Some people will try to turn your growth into their drama. Stay strong. Toxic people. Moving forward. The comments were a battlefield. Tanya and Amanda rallying around Marissa, my mom, God bless her, defending me with the fury of a protective wolverine, and various neighbors and co-workers picking sides like it was a sporting event. But the most interesting development was a private message from someone I didn't expect. Janelle Foster, Caleb's wife. Trevor, I think we need to talk. I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I typed back, when and where. Tonight, 7 p.m., Starbucks on Detroit Road. I'll be wearing a blue jacket. How do you know who I am? I've been watching. We have more in common than you think. Now that was interesting. I spent the rest of the workday thinking about that message. Janelle Foster wanted to talk. Caleb's wife. The woman whose husband was sending shirtless photos to my wife while they planned their new beginnings. This could get very interesting indeed. When I got home that evening, Marissa's car wasn't in the driveway. No surprise there. But there was a note on the kitchen counter. Gone to Tanya's. Need space to think. Don't wait up. I crumpled the note and tossed it in the trash. Then I changed clothes and headed out to meet Janelle Foster. The Starbucks was busy for a Tuesday evening, but I spotted her immediately. Blue jacket, brown hair pulled back in a ponytail, tired eyes that looked like they'd seen too much. She was sitting in a corner booth, hands wrapped around a coffee cup like it was an anchor. Janelle? She looked up and nodded. Trevor, thanks for coming. I sat down across from her, studying her face. She was pretty in a no-nonsense way, the kind of woman who probably looked better without makeup than with it. Nothing like the Instagram models Caleb followed online. So, I said, what did you want to talk about? She reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. I want to show you something. She turned the screen toward me. It was a text conversation between her and Caleb from 3 days ago. Caleb. Working late again. Don't wait up. Janelle. With Marissa? Caleb. It's work stuff you wouldn't understand. Janelle. I understand more than you think. That's not all, she said, swiping to another conversation. This one was between Caleb and someone named M in his contacts. M. Can't wait to be free of all this drama. Caleb. Soon, baby. Just gotta play it smart. M. Trevor's getting suspicious. Caleb. Let him. Guy's a loser anyway. Fixes air conditioners for a living. I felt my jaw tighten, but I kept my voice level. How long have you known? 2 months, maybe longer. Janelle's voice was steady, but I could see the anger simmering underneath. I hired a private investigator. And? And your wife isn't the only one he's been texting. She showed me more screenshots. Different women, same pattern. Caleb was apparently running a whole operation, telling each of them they were special while keeping his options open. There's more, Janelle continued. He's been stealing money from the medical practice. Small amounts, but consistent. I have bank records. Now that was interesting. Does Marissa know? I don't think so, but she's going to be in for a surprise when Dr. Peterson figures it out. I leaned back in my chair, processing this information. Caleb wasn't just a cheating husband. He was a cheating, stealing husband who was about to drag my wife down with him. What do you want from me? I asked. Janelle smiled for the first time since I'd sat down. It wasn't a pleasant smile. I want revenge, Trevor. And I think you do too. I got home around 9 to find Marissa's car in the driveway and all the lights on. She was in the living room, pacing like a caged animal, her phone pressed to her ear. No, Tanya, I don't think he's just being supportive. You should have seen his face this morning. She spotted me in the doorway and lowered her voice. He's here. I'll call you back. Hey, I said, hanging my jacket on the back of a chair. How was your evening of thinking? We need to talk. Sure. Want some coffee? She followed me into the kitchen, and I could feel the tension radiating off her like heat from a furnace. I took my time making coffee, letting her stew in whatever guilt or anger was eating at her. Your comment on my Facebook post was inappropriate, she finally said. Was it? I thought I was being supportive of your journey. Don't. Her voice was sharp. Don't pretend you don't know what you're doing. I turned to face her, coffee mug in hand. What am I doing, Marissa? You're trying to humiliate me, making me look bad in front of our friends. Our friends? I almost laughed. When's the last time you included me in anything with our friends? When's the last time you even pretended to want me around? She opened her mouth to argue, then closed it. For a moment, I saw something that might have been shame flicker across her face. Things have been difficult, she said finally. Yeah, they have, especially since you started working late with Caleb 3 nights a week. The color drained from her face. It's not what you think. What do I think, Marissa? I don't know. But whatever it is, you're wrong. I pulled out my phone and opened Facebook. Her post from this morning was still there, still collecting likes and comments. I scrolled down to the comments section and started reading aloud. Tanya says, "You deserve so much better." Amanda says, "About time you realized it." Mrs. Henderson from next door liked it. Even my cousin Danny commented with a thumbs up emoji. I looked up at her. Seems like everyone knows something I don't. It's not about you specifically. Then who is it about? The toxic men you need to walk away from? Because I'm the only man in your life, unless you count Caleb. Her face flushed red. Caleb is my co-worker. Caleb is a married man who sends you shirtless photos at 10 o'clock at night. The silence that followed was deafening. Marissa stared at me like I'd just spoken in a foreign language. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, but her voice had lost all its conviction. I set down my coffee mug and pulled out my phone again. This time, I opened the photos I'd taken of her text messages last week. Screenshots of Caleb's gym selfies, complete with messages like "thinking of you" and "can't wait to see you tomorrow." Want to try that again? Marissa's face went through several emotions at once: shock, anger, fear, and something that might have been relief, like she was tired of pretending. You went through my phone. You left it on the kitchen counter. It buzzed. I glanced at it. I shrugged. Amazing what you can learn from a glance. She sat down heavily in one of the kitchen chairs. Trevor, I can explain. I'm sure you can, but I'm not really interested in explanations right now. What do you mean? I walked over to the refrigerator and pulled down her motivational quote. Sometimes you have to walk away from toxic people to find your peace, I read aloud. You know what? You're absolutely right. I crumpled up the paper and tossed it in the trash. What are you doing? I'm taking your advice. I'm walking away from toxic people. I headed toward the stairs, leaving her sitting in the kitchen. Halfway up, I turned back. Oh, and Marissa, you might want to check with Caleb about those other women he's been texting. Turns out you're not as special as you thought. I didn't wait to see her reaction. The next morning, I woke up to find Marissa already gone. No note this time, but her overnight bag was missing from the closet. I made coffee, ate breakfast, and checked Facebook. She'd posted again. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who hurt you the most. Trust is everything. Once it's broken, there's no going back. Heartbroken, duplicity, betrayed by love. The comments were already pouring in. Tanya. Oh, honey, what happened? Amanda. I'm here if you need to talk. Even some people I barely recognized were offering support and asking what was wrong. I scrolled through them all, then typed my own comment. Completely agree. Trust is everything. Once someone breaks it by lying and cheating, there's really no point in pretending anymore. Then I shared the post to my own timeline with the caption, My wife is absolutely right about trust and betrayal. Some people really do show you who they are. My phone started ringing within minutes. Greg, my mom, even my cousin Danny from Toledo. I let them all go to voicemail. Instead, I spent the morning doing something I'd been putting off for weeks. I called a lawyer. Sheila Martinez had handled my buddy Rick's divorce 2 years ago. She was tough, smart, and had a reputation for getting her clients everything they were entitled to. Her office was downtown, not far from where Marissa worked. Trevor Whitmore, I told the receptionist. I need to discuss divorce options. I can fit you in at 2 o'clock today. Perfect. I spent the rest of the morning at the job site, installing a new furnace for a young couple who kept talking about their forever home and their plans for kids. Greg kept shooting me worried looks, but he didn't ask any questions. At lunch, I checked my phone again. Marissa had called 6 times and sent a dozen text messages. The texts started apologetic and got progressively more desperate. Trevor, we need to talk. I'm sorry about the Facebook thing. I was upset. Please call me back. I'm staying at Tanya's tonight, but we should talk tomorrow. I never meant for things to get this complicated. Caleb says you're spreading lies about him. That last one made me laugh. Caleb says I'm spreading lies. Right. I texted back, not lies, just truth. There's a difference. Her response was immediate. What truth? What are you talking about? I sent her a screenshot of one of Caleb's text conversations that Janelle had shown me. The one where he called me a loser and talked about playing it smart. My phone rang immediately. Trevor, where did you get this? Does it matter? Is it true? Silence. Marissa, is it true? It's not what it looks like. It looks like your boyfriend called your husband a loser while planning to help you leave him. What else could it look like? He's not my boyfriend. What is he then? Another long silence. I need time to think. Take all the time you need, but do it somewhere else. I hung up and turned off my phone. Sheila Martinez was exactly what I'd expected. Mid-50s, sharp suit, sharper eyes. Her office was all business, with law books and diplomas covering every wall. Tell me about your situation, she said, pulling out a legal pad. I told her everything. The late nights, the text messages, the Facebook posts, the meeting with Janelle Foster. She took notes and asked pointed questions about our finances, our assets, and whether I had any evidence of adultery. "The text messages help," she said, "but we'll need more if you want to avoid paying alimony." "What kind of more?" "Photos, witnesses, documentation of the affair. The more concrete evidence you have, the better your position." "What about the money Caleb's been stealing from the medical practice?" Her eyebrows went up. "Tell me about that." I showed her the bank records Janelle had shared. Sheila studied them carefully. "If this is accurate, your wife could be in serious legal trouble. Even if she didn't know about the theft, she's been benefiting from it. Those expensive dinners, the new clothes, the weekend trips, if they were funded by stolen money, she could be considered an accessory. What does that mean for the divorce?" "It means you hold all the cards. File first, document everything, and let her scramble to catch up." I left her office with a folder full of paperwork and a plan. Step 1, document everything. Step 2, secure our assets. Step 3, let Marissa and Caleb dig their own graves. That evening, I went home and started packing. Not my stuff. Hers. I worked methodically, folding her clothes and placing them in boxes. Her inspirational books, her essential oils, her collection of wine glasses from various vineyards we'd visited during better times. Everything went into boxes, carefully labeled and stacked in the garage. While I packed, I thought about the conversation with Janelle Foster. She'd given me her phone number and told me to call when I was ready to coordinate our efforts. I wasn't entirely sure what that meant, but I had a feeling I was about to find out. Around 10 p.m., my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is Janelle. Are you ready to make them pay?" I looked around at the boxes filling my garage, thought about Marissa's Facebook posts and Caleb's smug face, and typed back, "What did you have in mind?" "Meet me tomorrow after work. Same place. I have a plan." I stared at the message for a long moment, then responded, "I'll be there." Then I took a photo of all the boxes stacked neatly in the garage and posted it to Facebook with the caption, "Spring cleaning came early this year. Sometimes you have to clear out the old to make room for something better." New beginnings. Fresh start. Within an hour, the post had 30 likes and a dozen comments asking what I was getting rid of. I didn't respond to any of them, but I did share Marissa's post about trust and betrayal one more time with a new caption. "My wife really nailed this one. Actions have consequences." My phone started ringing immediately, but I turned it off and went to bed. Tomorrow was going to be a very interesting day. I woke up to someone pounding on my front door at 6:30 in the morning. Through the window, I could see Marissa's white Honda in the driveway and her silhouette on the porch, banging like the house was on fire. I took my time getting dressed, brushing my teeth, and making coffee before I finally opened the door. "What the hell, Trevor?" She pushed past me into the living room, her eyes wild and her hair disheveled like she'd been up all night. "What the hell is this about spring cleaning? Good morning to you too. Want some coffee? I want to know why half the neighborhood is asking me about boxes in our garage." "Because I posted a photo of boxes in our garage. My boxes, Trevor. Those are my things." I sipped my coffee and studied her face. She looked terrible. Dark circles under her eyes, stress lines around her mouth. That particular shade of pale that comes from too much drama and not enough sleep. "Are they? I thought you were staying at Tanya's indefinitely. Seemed like you might need your stuff. You can't just pack up my life and put it in boxes." "Why not? You've been packing up our marriage for months. I'm just being efficient." She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "I never said I wanted a divorce." "You didn't have to. Your Facebook posts said it for you." "Those weren't about divorce. They were about needing space." "Space from what?" "From this. From us. From the way things have been." I set down my coffee mug and looked at her directly. "Marissa, do you want to be married to me?" The question hung in the air between us like smoke. She opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again. It's complicated. No, it's not. It's the simplest question in the world. Do you want to be married to me, yes or no? I don't know. Then you have your answer. I walked toward the kitchen, leaving her standing in the living room. She followed me, her voice getting higher and more desperate. You can't just make this decision for both of us. I'm not making any decisions. I'm just responding to the ones you've already made. What's that supposed to mean? I pulled out my phone and opened her Facebook profile. Let's see. In the past week, you've posted about walking away from toxic men, about trust being broken, about being betrayed by the people closest to you. You've been staying at Tanya's house. You forgot your wedding ring 3 times, and you've been having an emotional affair with a married man who's stealing money from your workplace. I looked up at her. Did I miss anything? Her face went white. How do you know about the money? I know a lot of things, Marissa. More than you think. Caleb isn't stealing anything. He's been helping me understand my worth. By sending you shirtless photos and calling your husband a loser? He never said that. I pulled up the screenshot Janelle had given me and showed it to her. Marissa read it twice, her face cycling through confusion, hurt, and anger. Where did you get this? Does it matter? Is it true? She stared at the phone for a long moment, then handed it back to me. It's not what it looks like. What does it look like, Marissa? It looks like... She trailed off, unable to finish the sentence. It looks like your boyfriend is playing you, just like he's playing his wife. Just like he's playing every other woman he's been texting. Other women? I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. You didn't know about the others? The silence stretched between us like a chasm. Finally, she spoke in a voice so quiet I almost didn't hear her. How many others? Does it matter? 1, 5, 10? The point is, you're not special to him. You're just convenient. She sank into one of the kitchen chairs, her face in her hands. For a moment I remembered why I'd fallen in love with her 15 years ago. She'd been different then, confident, funny, real. Not this insecure woman who needed constant validation from social media and married men. I never meant for this to happen, she whispered, but it did happen, and now we have to deal with it. She looked up at me, tears in her eyes. What do you want me to do? I want you to be honest. With me, with yourself, with everyone. Stop posting cryptic Facebook messages and just say what you mean. And if I do that, then maybe we can figure out how to end this without destroying each other. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I need time to think. You keep saying that, but thinking isn't going to change what you've done. It's not going to change what Caleb's done. It's just going to drag this out longer. So what are you saying? I'm saying make a choice, Marissa. Him or me. This marriage or whatever fantasy you've been living in. But make it now, and make it final. She stood up slowly, like she was carrying a great weight. I can't make that decision right now. Then I'll make it for you. I walked to the front door and opened it. Your boxes are in the garage. Take what you need. Leave your key on the kitchen counter. Trevor, please. No more, please. No more, maybe. No more, I need time to think. You've had 6 months to think. Time's up. She walked past me toward the garage, then stopped. What about us? What about 15 years? What about them? You threw them away the minute you started texting another man. I'm just acknowledging reality. She stood there for another moment, then went to get her boxes. While she loaded her car, I called Sheila Martinez. Trevor, how are you holding up? I need to file papers today. What happened? I told her about the morning's conversation, about Marissa's non-answers and continued deception. Bring me everything you have. Photos, text messages, bank records, everything. We'll file this afternoon. After Marissa left, I sat in my empty house and thought about what came next. The divorce would be messy but straightforward. Caleb and his stealing were a separate issue. one that would probably resolve itself when Dr. Peterson figured out what was happening. But there was still the matter of public humiliation. Both Caleb and Marissa had made this very public with their social media drama. They dragged our private business into the neighborhood gossip mill and made me look like a fool. That required a different kind of response. I called Janelle Foster. "Trevor, how did it go this morning?" "She's gone. I'm filing papers today." "Good. Are you ready for phase 2? "What's phase 2? "Making sure everyone knows exactly who they're dealing with." We met that evening at a different coffee shop, this one in Lakewood, where we were less likely to run into anyone we knew. Janelle looked better than she had the night before, more focused, more determined. "I've been busy," she said, sliding a folder across the table. "Bank records, text messages, photos, even some security camera footage from the medical office." I opened the folder and whistled low. She'd been thorough. Screenshots of Caleb's conversations with at least 6 different women, all following the same pattern. Photos of him entering and leaving the office at odd hours. Bank records showing the pattern of small withdrawals that coincided with his dates. "How did you get all this?" "I'm a nurse, Trevor. I know how to investigate. And I know how to document everything." "What's your plan?" She smiled that cold smile again. "We're going to give them exactly what they've been asking for. They want drama. They want attention. They want to be the center of everyone's conversation. We're going to make sure they get it." "I'm listening." "Caleb's gym. He goes there every day at 5:30 right after work. Makes a big show of it, posts photos, flirts with the women in his spinning class. Tomorrow you're going to show up." "And do what?" "Nothing dramatic. Just be there. Let people see you. Let them put 2 and 2 together." "That's it?" "That's just the beginning." She pulled out her phone and showed me Caleb's Instagram account. Photos of him posing with weights, flexing in mirrors, posting inspirational quotes about taking what you deserve and living your best life. He's got 300 followers, mostly people from work and the gym. They all think he's this great family man who just happens to be really dedicated to fitness. And you want to change that perception. I want to show them who he really is. I studied the photos on her phone. Caleb looked ridiculous in most of them. A middle-aged man trying too hard to look young, posing like a teenager despite his receding hairline and soft middle. "What about Marissa? What about her? She's going to be collateral damage in this." Janelle's expression hardened. She made her choice when she decided to sleep with my husband. She gets whatever's coming to her. I thought about that for a moment. Marissa had made her choice, that was true, but she'd also been manipulated by someone who was clearly experienced at this game. "Okay," I said finally. "What do you need me to do?" "Tomorrow at 5:30. Lifetime Fitness on Detroit Road. Just show up and work out. Let people see you. Let them wonder why you're there." "And then?" "Then we see how they react." I left the coffee shop with a plan and a folder full of ammunition. Whatever happened next, Caleb and Marissa had brought it on themselves. But first, I had some social media updates to make. I posted a photo of my empty house with the caption, "Sometimes the trash takes itself out. Amazing how much cleaner everything feels." Fresh start. No more drama. Moving forward. Within an hour, it had 50 likes and 24 comments asking what had happened. I didn't respond to any of them, but I did send a friend request to every person who'd commented on Marissa's recent posts. Her friends, her family, her co-workers, everyone who'd been following our drama from the sidelines. Time to give them a front row seat. The Lifetime Fitness on Detroit Road was exactly what I'd expected. Gleaming equipment, motivational posters, and enough mirrors to make a narcissist weep with joy. I signed up for a day pass and told the perky blonde at the front desk that I was thinking about joining. "We have a great community here," she said, handing me a towel and a water bottle. "Lots of people who really support each other's fitness journeys." Sounds perfect. I'm looking for a fresh start. It was 5:20 when I walked into the main workout area. The place was busy with the after-work crowd, business people still in dress shirts, soccer moms in expensive workout gear, and a handful of serious lifters who looked like they lived here. I spotted Caleb immediately. He was at the bench press, loading up more weight than his soft physique suggested he could handle. A small crowd had gathered to watch, including 2 women in yoga pants who were giggling at something he'd said. I grabbed a set of dumbbells and positioned myself where I had a clear view of his performance. He was putting on quite a show, grunting dramatically, checking himself out in the mirror between sets, making loud comments about pushing through barriers and conquering limitations. The women were eating it up. I pulled out my phone and opened Instagram, making sure to tag my location. Then, I took a casual selfie with the caption, "Trying out a new gym. Amazing what you learn about people when you see them in their natural habitat." Fitness journey, new perspectives, eye-opening. Caleb was in the background of the photo, mid-flex, completely oblivious to my presence. I posted it and went back to my workout. 10 minutes later, my phone started buzzing with notifications, likes, comments, and, most importantly, a direct message from one of the women who'd been watching Caleb's show. "Aren't you Marissa's husband? From the medical office?" I looked around and spotted her, a brunette in her 30s, still standing near the bench press, but now looking at me with obvious curiosity. I walked over. "I am. Do I know you?" "I'm Jessica. I work at the insurance office next door to Dr. Peterson's practice. I've seen you pick up Marissa a few times." "Ah, right. Nice to meet you." She glanced toward Caleb, who was now doing bicep curls and admiring himself in the mirror. "Are you and Marissa— I saw some posts on Facebook." "We're separated," I said simply. "She's exploring other options." Jessica's eyes widened slightly. "Other options?" I nodded toward Caleb. Apparently, she found what she was looking for. The expression on Jessica's face was priceless. Shock, understanding, and a hint of scandalized delight all rolled into one. I could practically see the gossip wheels turning in her head. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Caleb? But he's married. He's got kids. Yeah, it's a complicated situation. Does his wife know? I think she's starting to figure it out." Jessica looked back at Caleb, who was now posing for a selfie with the other woman from his audience. "This is crazy. He's always talking about his family, showing pictures of his kids. People aren't always what they seem." She pulled out her phone. "Would you mind if this is just so shocking. Feel free to share whatever you think people should know. Truth has a way of coming out eventually." I finished my workout and left, but not before taking one more photo, this one of Caleb surrounded by his admirers, completely unaware that his world was about to change. The caption read, "Some people perform for an audience. Others just live their lives. Guess which one leads to lasting happiness? Bake off R. Authenticity. Reality check. Truth matters." By the time I got home, the photo had been shared 12 times and commented on by half the medical office staff. The comments ranged from confused, "Wait, what's going on?" to knowing, "I knew something was up with those two," to outright accusatory, "This is so messed up." My phone rang. "Janelle, I saw your Instagram post. Perfect. Phase 2 complete? Phase 2 is just getting started. Check Caleb's social media." I pulled up his Instagram. His latest post was from an hour ago. The same selfie I'd seen him take at the gym, captioned, "Crushing it at the gym. Nothing beats the feeling of pushing yourself to new limits. Beast mode. Never settle. Living my best life." The comments section was a war zone. "Isn't that Marissa from Dr. Peterson's office in the background? Where's your wife, Caleb? This is disgusting. You have children. I can't believe I ever thought you were a good guy." Someone had tagged Marissa in the comments. Someone else had tagged Janelle. The post had been shared to multiple Facebook groups, including one called Cleveland Area Medical Professionals and another called Westlake Community Watch. Jesus, I muttered. It gets better, Janelle said. Check your Facebook messages. I had 17 new messages, mostly from people I barely knew asking for details about what was happening. But there were a few that stood out. One was from Dr. Peterson himself. Trevor, I'm sorry to hear about your situation. I want you to know that I had no knowledge of any inappropriate behavior between my employees. This will be addressed immediately. Another was from Caleb's wife's sister. I've been trying to tell Janelle for months that something was wrong. Thank you for finally bringing this into the open. But the most interesting message was from Tanya, Marissa's best friend. Trevor, I think there are some things you should know about what Marissa's been telling people. Can we talk? I stared at that last message for a long moment. Tanya wanting to talk was unexpected. She'd been Marissa's biggest supporter through all of this, her partner in the toxic men narrative. I called her. Trevor, thanks for calling me back. What's going on, Tanya? I'm at Marissa's, well, she's staying with me, and she's completely falling apart. She saw your Instagram post and she's not handling it well. What do you mean? She's been crying for 2 hours. She keeps saying she never meant for any of this to happen, that Caleb told her you were planning to leave her anyway. That was interesting. He told her what? He said you'd been talking to other women, that you were just looking for an excuse to end the marriage. He said he had proof. What kind of proof? I don't know, but Marissa believed him. She thought she was just protecting herself. I thought about this for a moment. It was a clever manipulation. Convince Marissa that I was already cheating, then position himself as her savior and confidant. Classic predator behavior. Tanya, has Marissa seen any of this proof? No. Caleb said he was protecting her feelings by not showing her the details. And you believed this? Long pause. I wanted to support my friend, but now, seeing all this stuff online, seeing how many other women he's been involved with, I think maybe we were wrong about him. What about being wrong about me? Another pause. Yeah, that too. I could hear Marissa crying in the background, her voice high and desperate as she talked on another phone. Who's she talking to? Caleb. She's been trying to reach him for hours, but he keeps sending her to voicemail. She finally got through. And he's telling her this is all her fault, that she should have kept her mouth shut, that she's ruined everything. The sound of Marissa's crying got louder, then suddenly stopped. I could hear her voice clearly now. What do you mean you can't see me anymore? What about everything you said? What about us leaving our marriages? Silence on her end. Then, other women? What other women? More silence, then the sound of a phone being thrown across the room. Tanya, I said, put Marissa on the phone. I don't think that's a good idea right now. Put her on the phone. A moment later, Marissa's voice came through, thick with tears and barely controlled hysteria. Trevor? Yeah, it's me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. I know. Caleb said, he told me you were cheating. He said he had pictures, evidence. He said you were planning to leave me and that I should protect myself. Did you ever see this evidence? No, but I trusted him. God, I'm so stupid. What did he just tell you on the phone? She started crying again. He said it's over. He said I was a mistake, that I misunderstood everything. He said he never promised to leave his wife. What about the other women? He said they were just friends, but then he said I was crazy if I thought I was the only one. I closed my eyes. Even now, even caught red-handed, Caleb was still manipulating her, still making her feel like everything was her fault. Marissa, listen to me. You need to stay away from him, completely. No texts, no calls, no contact. I know that now. But Trevor, what am I supposed to do? I've lost everything. My marriage, my job. Dr. Peterson put me on administrative leave today. My friends, my reputation. Everything. You haven't lost everything. Yes, I have. I threw away 15 years for a man who was lying to me the whole time. I looked around my empty house, thought about the divorce papers sitting on my kitchen table, thought about the public humiliation we'd both endured over the past week. Maybe, I said finally, but that doesn't mean it can't be fixed. The line went quiet, except for her crying. Trevor, do you think, is there any chance we could try to work this out? I thought about that question for a long time. Thought about 15 years of marriage, about the woman I'd fallen in love with, about the difference between a mistake and a betrayal. I don't know, Marissa. I honestly don't know. But maybe? Maybe. But first you need to figure out who you really are. Not who Caleb told you to be, not who social media expects you to be, just you. How do I do that? Start by telling the truth, all of it, to everyone. After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen for a long time, thinking about second chances and public humiliation and the difference between justice and revenge. My phone buzzed with a text from Janelle. Phase 3 tomorrow? I stared at the message for a moment, then typed back, let me think about it. Some wars, I was beginning to realize, didn't need to be fought to the bitter end, but some did. I woke up the next morning to find my driveway blocked by Caleb's BMW. He was sitting in the driver's seat, talking animatedly on his phone, gesturing with his free hand like he was conducting an orchestra of excuses. I made coffee and watched him through the kitchen window. He'd been there for at least 20 minutes, based on the steam that had built up on his windshield. Whatever conversation he was having, it wasn't going well. Finally, he got out of the car and walked to my front door. I let him knock 3 times before I answered. We need to talk, he said without preamble. Do we? This has gone far enough. You're destroying innocent people. I almost laughed. Innocent people? Marissa never meant to hurt anyone. She was confused, vulnerable. You took advantage of that. I took advantage? I stepped onto the porch, closing the door behind me. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. You pursued my wife, sent her inappropriate messages, convinced her I was cheating, manipulated her into an emotional affair, and somehow I'm the one taking advantage? Caleb's face flushed red. It wasn't like that. What was it like? We connected. We understood each other. She was unhappy in her marriage. Because you told her she should be unhappy. That's not true. I pulled out my phone and showed him one of the screenshots Janelle had provided. His own words, telling Marissa that she deserved better than a loser who fixes air conditioners. Want to try that again? He stared at the phone, his jaw working like he was chewing something bitter. Where did you get that? Does it matter? Is it true? It's taken out of context. What context makes calling someone's husband a loser appropriate? He didn't have an answer for that. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. You're going to stay away from my wife. You're going to stop contacting her, stop manipulating her, stop filling her head with lies about our marriage. Or what? Or I'll make sure everyone knows exactly who you are. They already know, thanks to your little social media campaign. That was just the preview. You want to see the full feature? Something in my tone must have gotten through to him, because he took a step back. What do you want? I want you to leave. Leave the medical practice, leave town, leave my wife alone. Find some other family to destroy. I can't just quit my job. Sure you can. People quit jobs all the time. Sometimes they even quit before they get fired for embezzlement. The color drained from his face. I don't know what you're talking about. Bank records, Caleb. Withdrawal patterns that match your date nights. Security footage of you accessing the office safe after hours. Should I go on? He opened his mouth, then closed it. For the first time since I'd known him, he looked genuinely scared. How much do you know? Enough. Look, That money, it was just temporary. I was planning to pay it back. With what? Your gym membership fees? I have a plan. Your plan was to use my wife as a cover while you embezzled money from your employer. That's not a plan. That's a crime. He leaned against his car, suddenly looking older than his 44 years. What do you want me to do? I told you. Leave. Today. Clean out your office, resign your position, and disappear. And if I don't? Then tomorrow morning, Dr. Peterson gets a full accounting of your activities, financial and otherwise. You can't prove anything. I showed him another screenshot, this one of his bank account, showing deposits that exactly matched the missing money from the practice. Your wife is very thorough, I said. She's been documenting everything for months. Janelle? She knows about the money, the women, all of it. She's been building a case against you while you've been playing house with my wife. He slumped against his car. I never meant for it to go this far. But it did. And now you have to deal with the consequences. What about Marissa? What about her? She's going to be devastated when she finds out about the money. She'll survive. People are stronger than you think. He looked at me for a long moment. You really love her, don't you? Even after everything. That's not your concern anymore. If I leave, will you try to work things out with her? That's between me and Marissa. He nodded slowly, then got back in his car. I'll clean out my office today. Good choice. He started the engine, then rolled down the window. For what it's worth, I really did care about her. No, I said. You cared about what she could do for you. There's a difference. After he drove away, I called Janelle. He's leaving, I told her. Good. What about the money? He'll probably try to return what he can and hope Dr. Peterson doesn't press charges. And Marissa? That's complicated. Are you going to take her back? I thought about that question. I don't know yet. She betrayed you, Trevor. She chose him over you. She made a mistake, a big one, but still a mistake. Some mistakes can't be forgiven. Maybe, but some can. That afternoon, I drove to Tanya's house. Marissa's car was in the driveway, and I could see her sitting on the front porch staring at her phone. She looked up when I pulled in, her face a mixture of hope and fear. Hi, she said. Hi. I sat down next to her on the porch steps. She looked terrible. Red eyes, pale skin, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. But she also looked more real than she had in months. Caleb's leaving, I said. I know. He texted me. What did he say? That it was all a mistake, that he never meant to hurt anyone. She laughed bitterly. Same thing he's been saying to everyone, I guess. Probably. We sat in silence for a while, watching cars drive by on the quiet suburban street. I found out about the money, she said finally. Yeah? Dr. Peterson called me this morning. He wanted to know if I knew anything about missing funds. She wiped her eyes. I had no idea, Trevor. I swear I didn't know. I believe you. Do you? Because I don't know if I'd believe me. You're not a criminal, Marissa. You're just someone who got manipulated by someone who's very good at manipulation. That doesn't make it okay. No, it doesn't, but it makes it understandable. She turned to look at me. I've been thinking about what you said, about figuring out who I really am. And I think I lost myself somewhere along the way. I got so focused on what other people thought, on how things looked from the outside, that I forgot what actually mattered. Which is us, our marriage, the life we built together. She started crying again. And I threw it all away for someone who was lying to me from the beginning. I put my arm around her shoulders. She leaned into me, and for a moment it felt like old times. Trevor, is there any chance, any possibility that we could try again? I don't know, I said honestly. There's a lot of damage to repair. I know. And I know I'm the one who caused most of it. Most of it, yeah. I'll do anything. Counseling, therapy, whatever it takes. I just want my life back. It's not going to be the same life, Marissa. Too much has happened. I know, but maybe it could be a better life, more honest. I thought about that, about second chances and public humiliation and the difference between justice and revenge. Maybe, I said finally, but it's going to take time. How much time? I don't know, as much as it takes. She nodded, wiping her eyes. I can wait. And no more social media drama. No more cryptic posts about toxic people and finding yourself. Done. And no more lies. About anything. Ever. I promise. And we do this privately. No more airing our business for the whole neighborhood to see. Agreed. I stood up. I'm going home. You should stay here with Tanya for a while longer. Give us both some space to think. Okay. And Marissa? Yeah? Delete Caleb's number. Block him on social media. If he contacts you for any reason, you tell me immediately. I already did. Deleted everything. I walked back to my truck, then turned around. One more thing. What? That motivational quote you put on the refrigerator. About walking away from toxic people? Yeah? You were right about that. Sometimes you do have to walk away. But sometimes, if you're lucky, you get to walk back. I drove home thinking about forgiveness and second chances and the long road back from betrayal. It wouldn't be easy. There would be counseling and difficult conversations and moments when we both wondered if it was worth the effort. But 15 years of marriage was worth fighting for, even if it meant swallowing my pride and risking my heart one more time. My phone buzzed with a text from Janelle. Heard Caleb's leaving town. What about Marissa? I thought for a moment, then typed back, some people deserve a second chance. Even after everything she did? Especially after everything she did. That's what forgiveness means. You're a better person than I am. No, I replied. I'm just someone who remembers what it's like to make mistakes. That evening, I took down all the Facebook posts about spring cleaning and fresh starts. I deleted the Instagram photos from the gym. I even removed the divorce papers from my kitchen table and put them in a drawer. Then I posted one final update. Sometimes the best revenge is choosing love over anger. Some battles are worth fighting. Others are worth walking away from. The trick is knowing the difference. Second chances. Real love. Moving forward. The post got more likes and comments than anything I'd ever shared. But for once, I didn't care about the audience. I was too busy planning for a future that suddenly seemed possible again.